Hey y'all, welcome and welcome back. So for today's video, I finally want to talk about the Fang Vote Jinafire doll. She's been kind of, a buzz in the Monster High community for the last little bit while she was in like the voting phase, but I wanted to wait to talk about this doll until we had the finalized votes and like the finalized version, and that has literally happened like an hour ago as of time of me filming this, so I'm very excited to finally be able to talk about her. I am going to be talking about a lot, like this is going to be, I feel like, a pretty lengthy discussion here because I want to talk about the voting process and what that was like, and obviously my thoughts on all of the choices, and then of course my thoughts on the final design that ended up being picked. So buckle up. This is going to be kind of a long one, but hopefully a fun one for you guys. If you do find yourself enjoying, if you could give the video a like, that's very helpful to me. If you're new here and you enjoy your time, definitely subscribe so you can see more. And if you want to go out of your way to support me, I have like my PO box and stuff in the description down below. But without further ado, I don't want to ramble too much because we have so much to talk about. So the Fang Vote was announced a little bit differently than the last one. If you guys will recall, the last Fang Vote doll was Rochelle, and there was some drama between like the voting period to the time that the doll got revealed to the time that the doll got shipped out. It's a lot, I've talked about it before, but this is a little bit different because this time the Fang Vote started with us seeing what the kind of bare bones doll would look like, plus we got to see what her dress would look like. So with Rochelle, we picked like all of the accessories and like the makeup and the hair and everything. No one got to vote on the dress, and then the dress was kind of just revealed at the end, and I think doing it this way, how they did with Jinafire, is so much better. I still think it would be really cool to get to vote on the actual clothing pieces in a future Fang Vote doll, just because like that is the majority of the doll, right? It's like going to be the outfit that she comes in, but if they're not going to let us vote on it, I'm so happy that we were able to see what this dress was going to look like. And even in like, I don't know if this is actually an active prototype doll or like a 3D render. I'm not like knowledgeable enough to know those things, but I'm glad that we got to see it in this kind of 3D sense instead of just a drawing as well, because like a drawing, sometimes in 2D things look really good and they don't translate as well to 3D, or especially like with a doll's small scale, sometimes things don't translate as well. So I think getting to see the bare bones doll with her dress like this, so much better to start off with, because then people are able to make decisions that they think will match with the outfit. Like with Rochelle, a big complaint of mine was that you are picking like this hair, for example, but maybe you think that the hair would actually be really ugly with the dress, but like you don't know that until it's too late. So with Jinafire, I was very happy to see that we got like her base outfit so that people who are voting could make their choices based on what they think would go with that. I just think it was a much smarter way to do this. I think it was something that let people who are voting be a lot more informed about it, and that's very fun. As far as the base dress goes, I do think this was a great place to start off. I think this is so beautiful. The layers and the fabrics and all of the detail that we get, even just from the base dress, is absolutely phenomenal to me. We will be talking price later, so like I'll get into that at the very end here, but I just think that this is a beautiful place to start off with. So there were 2 rounds of voting. The first round consisted of hair and then makeup and then some accessories. And we had 2 choices for each of those categories. All of these like choices did have names, by the way, and I just didn't write them down. I'm sorry if that bothers you, but I don't know. It doesn't help me categorize them because they're all just like fun little descriptions, and like it's nice, but I'm not going to know what it means immediately, so I didn't write them down. So the first hair choice that we had was this red style, is what I'm calling it. It is like Jinafire's typical green and black hair blend from Gen 1, so not referencing the hair, but the red hair piece is why I'm calling it the red style. I do actually think this is beautiful. I think both hair choices were really nice. I love the fan on the back of her hair. I think that's really pretty, and I actually love the antlers too. I just think that's a cool addition, since a lot of times in depictions of Chinese dragons they do have antlers, so I think that's a cool call out, especially because Jinafire is a Chinese dragon, like she's not a European dragon. I think that's really fun. What killed this for me though was the braids. That's just a personal choice, like it's not anything that I have against it. I just didn't really love how they looked with this design, specifically from the front. I think the back view of the braids looked nice. I just wasn't 100% sold from the front view. So I did end up voting for the second option here, which is like the gold choice. Another beautiful hairpiece. Still getting the same hair blend, like Jinafire was going to have that hair kind of regardless. But both of these pieces are just absolutely gorgeous. Like the design is absolutely beautiful. And spoiler alert, I'm going to be saying that a few times in this video. I think a lot of the times all of the choices were great choices. This one just, I think I liked better just because I liked the way that the hair flowed with the design, and also the sculpting is still really, really beautiful. On both of them, they've got like a lot of trailing pieces and these beautiful pearlescent beads that I'm obsessed with. There's a few more of the pearlescent accents on this gold one. I just think this is absolutely gorgeous. So this is what I ended up voting for. Also, I would love to hear what you guys ended up voting for in the comments, and like at the end, you know, with the reveal of the doll. Did you get what you wanted? Very curious. But anyway, on to the makeup. So the look on the left is kind of a little bit softer to me. There's a lot more green going on with the eye. And she's got this really cute little like lotus flower on her under eye, kind of painted on there. I think that is absolutely gorgeous, and that is the one that I voted for. And then the other one I do think is really, really pretty as well. I do like the dark dramatic makeup. I think that's nice. I would like to see both of these, honestly, on a doll. I think the thing for me was that without knowing which headpiece was picked, I wasn't sure if I would like the pearls that are kind of like trailing from the corner of her eye to her ear. I think it's an interesting thing to do, but because these were done in sets of 3, where like you were picking 3 different things all at once, I had no way of knowing which hair would be picked, and I didn't think that I would like this if the fan hair won. So that was one thing that was kind of iffy to me about this second makeup pick. And then the other thing was the heart-shaped lips. Like, her lips aren't completely filled in, they're just red in the middle and then her nude on the edges, which is a fun look. I like the idea of it. Obviously, I think the biggest example is Cupid had those lips in Gen 1 of Monster High, where she had kind of heart lips. It can be done well. I just don't know if, for me, I liked how it looked with the dark dramatic eye makeup. I don't know. It just wasn't as cohesive to me as the more Lotus look, so that's the one that I ended up choosing. And then the last one was accessories, and we have green and red versions. The green one does have a gold earring, a green armband, and then green nails, and then the red one has a red and green earring, a red armband, and red nails, so red and green. This is another one that's hard, and this is going to be another theme throughout the video, because depending on which hairpiece kind of would determine which one I like better. I think that the green one is good, honestly, either way, because like the gold kind of ties in with the gold headpiece, but I think that if there was the red headpiece and the red accessories, it might be kind of too much red, so I would like the green one in the case of the red especially. The red I think could have looked good with the gold anyway, but because I thought green would be better for both choices, or like I'd be happy with it regardless of what hair ended up getting picked, I picked the green one. And this is something that I did want to mention, is that I understand, I guess, why they did it in series of 3, because it's like probably just easier for them to not have to set up voting several times over and to be able to just do it in 2 rounds with 3 picks in each round. But I just got over praising the fact that we got to see the dress, so we could plan around what the dress looks like and we could vote based on what we think would match with the dress. I wish that we had gotten more different rounds of voting and we were only voting on one thing each time, because the same thing about the dress could be applied to the hair and could be applied to the accessories and the makeup. You know, like, you might not like the hair that you picked now that it's paired with the makeup you didn't pick, if that makes sense. So I just think it would have been beneficial for everybody to be able to take it literally step by step and say, okay, I voted for this hair. Oh, the hair that I didn't want won. Okay, now what do I want to vote for that will match with the hair that I didn't like, right? Like, that sort of thing. I just kind of wish that that could be done. It's whatever. Obviously, it's in the past at this point. Like, the voting is closed and the final doll has been revealed. But that is one critique, is that I would have liked to have been able to really build off of knowing what each choice was so that we could kind of design in harmony. But, you know, it is what it is. I also am kind of complaining for the sake of complaining, or like for other people's sake, I guess you would say, because I got super lucky, and in the first round, all of my picks were the ones that ended up being like the top voted and being the ones that would be on the final doll. So we had the gold hairpiece, the more Lotus makeup, and then the green armband. I was very excited about that. I was like, cannot believe that that was apparently the most popular pick, and I picked the most popular one in every category. But that was very, very exciting. So then for round 2, we had the shoes, the purse, and the stand. So the shoes were very hard for me, okay? So these are both amazing looking shoes. I think these are both absolutely gorgeous, much like the hair pieces. I think there's a lot to love about both of them. The red ones are like a little shop window, and there's a beautiful gold cloud detailing on there. And there's honestly just like a lot of detailing in the shop window in general. And then the other ones that are like more cloudy kind of start off with this jade color and then go into blue and then go into white. If I was just looking at the shoes, I would like the like more cool toned, like the green, gold, white ones more. I just think that those are like a color scheme that I really enjoy. I think it looks really beautiful. It's a fun sculpt. But because we know what the dress looks like and also what the first round picks were, I did end up picking the red ones just because I felt like there were some red elements to her design in like the top portion of the doll. Like she still had red in the headpiece, even though it wasn't mainly red, and she has like a red clasp at her belt. And I just felt like the other shoes would kind of disappear too much into this big bluish skirt that she has going on, whereas I thought the red shoes would kind of bring that color throughout her entire design and bring it down a little bit. And I just thought that they'd look better in the end. So like, even though technically they weren't actually my favorite shoes, because I had knowledge of what the outfit was going to be, thank you, I was able to pick the red ones because I thought that those would just match better. Then for the bags, this first one on the left is like a pearl, and then there's, I want to say, like, yeah, it's a little dragon kind of sculpted in there in more of a green to gold color, and then a red ribbon at the bottom. And then we have like a dragon boat for the other one. They're both cool. They're both very interesting. I did pick the pearl because, first of all, it has a pearlescent sheen to it, and like, I'm a sucker for anything shiny. Y'all know this. It's not really that surprising. But also, while the dragon boat has an impressive amount of detail, like, it is a very, very impressive sculpt, something about it just doesn't look as much like a purse to me. Like, I don't think either of these are going to open, and that's fine, it doesn't matter. But I could believe that the pearl would open and like be a spherical bag. I find it much harder to buy the concept of the dragon boat being a bag. I just don't think that it necessarily fits as much. So I did pick the pearl bag for her for my second pick. And then the final thing was the stand. So the first one on the left is like a jade sculpture of mountains and clouds. Again, very beautiful, very impressive. The second one is a splash of transparent water. And I love that one so, so much. It is a simpler sculpt, but I'm a sucker for transparent plastic. I don't know why, it just really gets me. And I also think that while I didn't want to choose the bluer shoes because they would blend in too much with the like blue dress that she has going on, I do like the idea of the stand kind of blending in because it like, I feel like the blue in her dress is a bit reminiscent of water or like a waterfall. And so the water splash stand I thought would be cool, especially if the red shoes won, because then it would be like a pop enough. And I just thought it would look really, really, really nice. And I got lucky again because the final doll, all three of those won, which means that every single time I voted in this Fang vote, I voted for the winning thing, which is absolutely crazy to me. Like, out of all of the possible combinations, this is literally my ideal doll. So I'm very excited, obviously. I hope that you guys also like how she turned out, and I hope that you guys also voted for things that you liked. Even if you didn't get all of them, even if you didn't get like super lucky, I hope that you were able to get like enough things to where you're excited about this. But I just couldn't believe that. Like, unreal. So now we can take a look at the doll herself. And honestly, in her entirety, I do think that she looks nice and cohesive. I feel like everything came together really, really, really well. I'm super pumped for her. I think she is going to be an absolutely beautiful doll to get to have eventually, which, you know, we have to get into the details here. So this doll is starting to go on sale at sorry, I was thinking it would just be noon, but it's 12:01 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the 9th of February, and then she's going to be available until the 23rd of February at the end of the day Pacific Standard Time. Now, she is a made-to-order item, just like Rochelle was. She's going to take a long time to ship. It says that it could take up to a year, which is rough, but like, it is what it is. There's not necessarily a whole lot you can do with that. That's kind of just how Mattel has decided it seems to be doing these Fang Vote dolls. And I guess it does make sense, especially with Jinafire, because the voting process really wasn't that long. Like, it was, what, a couple of weeks tops. And then she immediately is going on sale. Like, we just got the reveal today on the 8th, and then tomorrow on the 9th, she is going to start going up for sale. So unless it was rigged from the start, there's no way that they would have been able to have those dolls pre-made and in stock. So I do understand why they are the made to order in this case, because like, they just found out what the final design was supposed to be, you know. So I do understand why it's going to take a bit longer to get that into production and get that into the hands of customers. She is going to retail for $90 US. I want to say, I can't remember, but I believe that the situation with her was that you had to be a part of the Fang Club to vote, but you don't have to be part of the Fang Club to buy her. I could be wrong though. So I will put on the screen if I find out if I'm wrong, and if I am wrong and I didn't put it on the screen, feel free to correct me in the comments there, but I believe that is the situation. So she should just be the flat $90 US, obviously plus then shipping. We did also get a look at her box, which isn't something that particularly matters to me just because I unbox all of my dolls. So the box isn't like a big deal for me, but I know that when Rochelle first came out, we didn't get a look at what her box was going to look like when we first got like listings for that doll. And it was upsetting to some people because, you know, some people do like the box, and I understand that. I get that some collectors like to have a nice box to go with their nice doll. Makes tons of sense. So it is cool that with Jinafire we got to see, or we're getting to see, what the box looks like, or will look like, I guess I should say. It is just like a little bit of art kind of around a photo of the doll. To me, it's not the most impressive or the most exciting thing ever. I do think it's nice enough. Again, this is coming from someone who doesn't really pay attention to the boxes unless they're super exemplary, so it's mid for me, but I hope that if y'all are box people, you are satisfied with this one. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about is, of course, the elephant in the room, the price. As I said, she is $90, and personally, I think that she looks much, much more worth it than the Rochelle did. I'm sorry, I don't mean to like keep bringing up Rochelle in a negative light. I kind of feel bad, but while I don't think that she's like the worst doll that was singularly ever made, that's, you know, she's not. I don't think that she was executed nearly as well, especially for the price point. I feel like Jinafire just looks like she has a lot more going on, a lot more accessories, and a lot more layers. Like, I think that, I know she has gold tights that you can take off that are like separate, and then she has her main dress, but then I believe the blue portion can all be removed. Like, that's all a separate layer. So there's going to be multiple ways to display this doll and multiple layers that you can like mess around with. And yes, I know that Rochelle technically had that too, because she had like a jumpsuit and then the dress and then like the cage. I don't know, something about this design just feels a bit more in-depth and a bit more luxurious. I think a lot of it is the sculpting, because the amount of detail in the sculpts is honestly bonkers to me. Like, the shoes alone are so detailed and painted too. Like, not literally every single thing, but they're also painted. And so I think that just looking at this doll, she looks much more $90 to me than Rochelle did. Like, I kind of compare it to like the Vampire Heart Draculaura. Very expensive doll, but she had layers and she had detail and different fabrics and sculpts and stuff, and it felt like she was worth it. And I obviously don't have Jinafire in my hands, so like I can't 100% confirm, won't be able to do that for up to a year, but just looking at what we have to see, I feel like she looks more luxurious and more like a collector doll. And so I, like, eternally, you know, would love to have dolls be cheaper, but I do think that I look at her and I understand where that $90 is going to, whereas with Rochelle, it was kind of like, what's upping the price that much, you know? So it's expensive, yes, but I honestly am not upset because I think that it looks amazing. Of course, I might be biased because I did vote for all of the winning ones. So like, this is just my literal ideal Jinafire collector doll. So maybe that's just me. Maybe you guys disagree. Obviously, I would love to hear your thoughts on everything in the comments below, from like the slightly different way that the Fang Vote was conducted, where we got to see the dress first. I feel like most of y'all will probably agree that that was nice to get to kind of have an idea of what we were basing it off of, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And of course, all of the pieces and what you think of the final doll. I'm having a good time. I feel like most of the time when I make a video about a Mattel Creations release and it's like dedicated to one doll, it's a bad video. Like 90% of the time when I'm talking about a like collector level doll in a video like this, it's because I'm complaining about it. But it kind of feels nice to not be doing that today. I honestly think that Jinafire looks very promising. I will be purchasing her. I'm very excited to eventually get her in the mail and be able to actually see her in person. So all good things for me today, which is kind of unusual, but like, I'll take it. I'm not going to complain about getting to be positive for once. But yeah, that is just going to be my take on it. I hope you guys did enjoy talking with me today. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day or your night or whatever it might be, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Bye, guys.